What is up, guys? So it finally happened. I hit 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. It took a lot more time and effort than I initially expected, but it finally happened. I posted my first video pretty much towards the end of May, and in the beginning of October, I hit 1,000. And if you guys are new to the channel, haven't seen any of my videos before, my name's Jesse Chen. I'd make videos about tech, reviewing like phones, earbuds, headphones, smartwatches, that kind of thing. And if you aren't new to the channel and you don't really care about this stuff and you just want to watch more tech videos, then just click off this video. I don't blame you, and we'll get back to the regular content next week. Anyways, in this video, I'm just gonna kind of tell my story about how I started, why I started, and some stuff I learned along the way. And if you guys are watching this thinking about starting a YouTube channel yourself, then maybe some of these lessons you'll be able to take with you as well. I'm going to try my best to stay on topic as much as possible, and hopefully I won't ramble too much. I got some notes down here on my iPad just so I stay sort of on topic. But yeah, let's just get into the story, I guess. So for me, starting a YouTube channel has kind of been a dream of mine pretty much since high school. And I feel like back then we're kind of just starting to see a lot of people kind of starting to make YouTube a career path. And I just thought that making YouTube videos for a job would be the coolest thing ever, and it would just be such a good time. And I still think that, but I just kept on making excuses. And I feel like my kind of main fear about the whole starting a YouTube channel thing was actually just people I knew seeing my videos and seeing how awkward I was on camera and, judging me for that. And that fear kind of followed me all the way through college. Like, there would be a lot of times where I would start filming and just stop in the middle of making a video just because I just really wasn't satisfied with it, and I was afraid if I put this video out and somebody saw it, then I would just kind of be scarred socially forever. And I feel like the moment that I kind of just stopped caring about what other people thought and just kind of did my own thing was when I graduated. Like, when you're actually in school, you spend a lot of time with your friends, you're in the same classes together, you go to the same clubs, and it's really hard to avoid seeing other people all the time. But when you graduate and start working, the time that you spend with your friends actually diminishes quite a lot. And it just kind of popped in my head that like wow, if someone's mean to me, I don't have to see them like ever again if I don't really want to. And I found that my fears were generally pretty unfounded. Like, people were overwhelmingly very supportive, and even if they aren't, they're probably not going to say anything. And if they do, like, who cares? Just do your own thing. Like, just don't worry about it. So I guess lesson number one that I learned from this whole experience is just do it, and don't worry about what other people have to think about it. If making content is something that you really want to do and you really enjoy it, then just go for it and don't worry about what everyone else thinks. And I feel like the number one hardest thing that I had to learn, and I'm still learning, is how to talk to a camera. I feel like when you're watching a YouTube video on your phone or your laptop or something, it feels almost like you're having a conversation with the content creator. I mean, if they're doing a good job. But when you're actually on the other side of the camera and you're making the videos, you're pretty much just a guy alone in a room talking to a camera with a light shining on you. And that's really awkward, especially at first, and I'm definitely still getting over it. Like, talking to a camera is very, very different from talking to a person, and it's really hard to kind of humanize the camera and act like there's someone on the other side of that lens. And I feel like the thing that helped me the most was actually a Skillshare class on how to talk to a camera. And it wasn't necessarily the content of the class, like the lessons that he taught, but one of the things I thought was really cool was that the instructor included kind of the raw clips of the class that he shot. And in those raw clips, I saw that for each one of his lines, he probably had to redo it a couple times. And this was somebody who was very used to talking on camera and had been doing it for a long time. And it really helped me just kind of accept that I wasn't going to get it right the first time, and there's pretty much no way to do that. Like, before I saw that video, I would just do like 1 or 2 takes of each line, and I would just get really frustrated if I couldn't get the line right within those 2 takes. But now I make sure to take my time, and usually for one of my 10-minute videos, it takes about like an hour and a half to 2 hours of filming the talking head, which is probably pretty excessive, but I'm just really not good at talking to a camera, and that's something that I'm still learning. And one of the things that I got that was actually really helpful for me, at least, was getting a teleprompter. And I know that sounds really over the top for making YouTube videos, but if you're someone like me and you're just not a natural at all whatsoever at talking to a camera, then I think it's really good for kind of getting you off the ground and getting you started. And I definitely don't think that it should be a permanent solution. It's just kind of to get you started, getting you comfortable to talk to the camera, and you should slowly kind of wean yourself off of using it in the long run. So my next tip for beginner YouTubers is don't get caught up in the numbers. And I definitely think that's probably the easiest way to drive yourself crazy if you're trying to start out a channel. And I think it's so easy to get caught up in the numbers on this platform because YouTube gives you a lot of really great tools on how to keep track of your channel growth, like the click-through rates, the audience retention, average view duration, just all that kind of stuff. And it's really easy to just dive into it and get lost. And I feel like that stuff definitely has its place and it's very useful for certain applications. But I feel like at the end of the day, if you're trying to build an audience and do this YouTube thing long term, you should really be focusing on your content and not the numbers. Like my philosophy is just kind of that you can try to play around with the SEO stuff, making clickbaity thumbnails, making your descriptions better and stuff like that. And I think they will help to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, I feel like the most important thing is making quality content. And if you make quality content, then the viewers will find you. And I feel like one of the best things about this platform is the community. And if you can develop an audience that is loyal and genuinely wants to see your content, that's the best thing that can happen, and that should be the goal. And I feel like you only get that type of audience if you make quality content that people actually want to watch. And when I make videos for this channel, I try to keep this one thing in mind. And I'm not really sure who said this, but I think it was some famous YouTuber. And they said, become the creator that you would want to watch. And I feel like that makes a lot of sense because, you know, if you wouldn't watch them, like how can you expect other people to? And when I say quality content, I don't mean like go buy an expensive camera and film everything in 4K. I mean like the actual content that you're making. While having a bunch of fancy gear is nice and I think it definitely has its place, it's definitely not necessary. Like smartphone cameras are so good now that you can absolutely no question 100% start a YouTube channel with just a smartphone. I was kind of lucky though because before I started this channel, I was kind of a semi-professional photographer and I had the camera anyways. Also, I'm just kind of into tech. Like obviously I started a whole YouTube channel about it, so there's that too. And if you don't have a camera, you know, like I said, just grab your smartphone and all you need is some good light. And you can easily find that just by sitting next to a window. And that's probably the better option for most people because trust me, more gear equals more problems. Like unless you're really willing to learn about each aspect of filmmaking and cameras and all that, like it's just way more complicated than it's worth, like trust me. And if you're spending your whole time worrying about the technical aspect of making videos, then it might actually hinder your creative process. And that's something to think about as well. Because like I said earlier, quality content doesn't mean image quality of the video. It means the content of what you're filming. And if you nail that part, the audience isn't going to care if you're filming in 4K or 1080 or what kind of mic you're using. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about in this video, and probably the most important, is that if you're going to start a YouTube channel, expect it to be very hard work. And I know everyone says that, and at this point it's kind of a cliche, but it's true. It takes a lot more time than you would think. And if you're trying to post on a regular basis, probably like once a week or twice a week, which I do recommend that you do, it's going to take a lot of your time. Like the time commitment for a video definitely varies from person to person and from video to video. But I think generally it takes around 45 minutes to an hour of just editing per 1 minute of video time. And that's not including any of the time that you take to shoot either. So you can definitely see how that adds up if you're trying to make a 10 video every week or something like that. And when I tell people that, they're usually like, oh my God, what? It takes that long? And yeah, it's pretty much like a second job. And part of it is just that I'm not that good at it yet, and I'm still kind of learning how to make my workflow more efficient. But still, especially when you're just starting, expect it to take a lot of your time. So if you're in college right now and thinking about starting a channel, my advice would be do it now and don't wait like I did until you graduated and started working. Because I feel like you don't really realize how much time you have in college until you start work, where basically 9 hours of your day are taken right off the top before anything else. Take that and then add on commute times and then the time that you need to sleep and eat. And then you're left with just like a couple of hours a day where you can actually do stuff that's not related to work or living. But if you find a way to manage your time well and or be more efficient with your filming and production, then you can make it work. And I'm not saying any of this to scare you off. I'm just saying that that was my experience, and you should definitely be prepared to spend a lot more time than you might think. I'm definitely not like a big YouTuber or anything, and I don't have all this figured out either, but I just thought I'd kind of share my experience with starting this channel and how it's been getting to my first 1,000 subs. Hopefully you guys found it helpful or at least a little bit entertaining. I'm thinking about doing it when I reach certain milestones in my YouTube career, I guess. And I just want to keep you guys in the loop and provide any tips, I guess, that I find along the way and just kind of document my journey. Anyways, if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you. And if you have any questions for me, want to get to know me a little bit better, or just any questions about YouTube or tech or really anything, just leave it in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Also, remember to smash that like button. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.